let us start the first tutorial. So this is the sum. So try to note it down. This will be. So this is the first problem. So please try to note down and try to solve by yourself. So based on previous all class discussions. So this is a slope cut having a slope angle of 1.5 horizontal to 1 vertical. Will be made in a shale rock stratum that has a bedding planes that have an apparent dip of 16 degree. If the acceptable factor of safety against failure is at least 2 along the lowest most bedding plane, is this the slope stable? So you need to determine the factor of safety. Use a unit weight of 20.1 kilonewton per cubic meter and bedding strength parameters. C is 22 kilopascals and phi is 30 degree. Okay, I request everyone. So please note down this sum. So this is slope having a slope of 1.5 horizontal to 1 vertical. So the total length from toe to the top height is 85 and the height of the embankment or the slope is 20 meter. And the peak height of the slope is 11.3 meter. So as you can see, so this is the rock bedding plane. So the angle of the bedding plane is 16 degree. 16 degree. So first note it down and try to give me a small idea how to go about it to determine the factor of safety value. Yeah, hello. So can we have a discussion?
Yes, sir. Noted down.
Yeah, good. So let us note it down. And anybody can tell me by what method we could able to solve this problem?
Hello, sir. Can you please move the cursor?
What I need to move?
Yeah. I mean, we have not seen the question.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Now
Is
it's
it all
okay,
right
sir.
now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, fine. So this is a straightforward and very simple problem. So we can go for either mass procedure or method of slices. But if you want to go for method of slices, then you need to divide the entire slope into several number of slices. So let us try to solve with a mass procedure where I know the geometry of the given slope. The whole horizontal length of the slope is 85 meter. It has extended, and embankment height is 20 meter, and the maximum vertical distance of the given slope is 11.3 meters. Okay, so I guess you can able to determine the total weight of the mass. So there are two things here. One is driving force, next is resisting force. Resisting force is developing all along the failure plane, that is with a bedding plane of 16 degree. I know the C value, I know the pi value, therefore I can able to determine the shear strength that is developing all along the bedding plane. Then I know the driving force, which is nothing but the self weight of the slope. So here this is a triangular geometry, so this comes under planar. You can either determine this by the planar method, that is Kalman's method, or we can directly go for another method, that is C5 soil. So here in this case, we will try to analyze this by C5 method. So for that you need to determine the weight of the whole slope, which is the driving force causing the shear stress.
So for finding the area at the top, the failure plane is not touching the ground level at the top.
Yeah, true. So the failure plane is not touching, but this is nothing but your toe failure, na? We can consider this as some kind of the toe failure, where the failure plane is emerging at the toe exactly. So first of all, how do you
Not
determine
at the
this?
top, at the top one I'm talking about. At the top. See into length of that line.
Acha, see into length of that line. Okay. So can we able to determine the length of the The length L, basically the length of the failure plane.
Yes, sir. By geometry, we can find it.
Yeah, follow the same simple geometrical methods.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so everywhere follow the simple geometry. Suppose we can consider. So we can treat this entire slope as a triangle with an apex height of 11.3 meter. But you need to determine the base length, that is L. Height is known. Then you can follow off base into height. So in order to determine the L, I know the total base length of 85 degree and a slope angle of 16 degree. So I think using the sine law or cos law, one can able to determine the length L. Can anybody tell me what is the length L? Anybody calculate?
So 88.42.
Okay, very good. Then what is the total weight? Weight of geometry, that is weight of a total triangle. So again, I can separately consider the triangle of base into height. Height is 11.3 meter and base length is somebody has told me around 82 meter plus. So I can able to calculate the area and density of the rock is known, that is approximately 20.1. So density multiplied by the area will give you the directly weight component. Anybody? So this is the solution. So the triangle of a rock above the potential slip plane as a weight W component. So this is what I'm saying. One can able to determine the total weight of this triangle by calculating its area and then multiplying it with the density. So this is the total weight of the triangle of base into height multiplied by the density. So we are following the triangular law. The total base width of the triangle is 85 meter and the peak height is 11.3 meter. So this gives the total area. Area multiplied by the density, that is 20.1. Then what you will get is total weight of the triangle or total weight of the driving component that is causing the maximum shear stress. So this is the length. So follow the cos law because I know the base length. I want to determine the hypotenuse. So I can use the cos 16. Cos 16 is nothing but so the base length, that is 85 meter, divided by the hypotenuse, that is L, which is to be calculated. And so the resisting force is developing all along the length of the failure plane, so which can be written as CL plus W cos alpha into tan alpha divided by W sin alpha. Okay, so the total cohesion that is developing all along the failure slip plane is C has been given as 22 kilopascals. This should be multiplied with the total length of the failure plane, that is 88.4 meter. So this will give the total cohesion that was the total cohesion that was developing all along the failure plane, plus the normal component, that is 9650. So that comes from the weight of the triangle multiplied by the cos alpha and multiplied by the tan pi. So this is nothing but your shear strength equation, C plus sigma tan pi. C multiplied by the L, then the normal component is W cos alpha. So multiplied by frictional component, that is tan pi, divided by the driving component, that is W sin alpha. W sin alpha. So simply resolve the W weight component. So in the direction of the tangential force and in the direction of the normal force. That's it. So substitute all the parameters, then try to calculate the factor of safety value. So what we are going to get is, so 2.7, which is greater than 2. So therefore the slope is safe or stable. So you can give the connotation of either safe or stable.
Sir, for the calculation of weight, why didn't we use 88.4?
This is the cohesion that is developing all along the length of the failure plane. Na? See, for example, so this is the failure plane L.
Yes, sir.
Where cohesion, that is cohesion for unit length. Okay, so how do you determine the total shear strength? The total shear strength is nothing but cohesion for unit length multiplied by the total length of failure plane.
Yes, sir.
Because this is the total shear strength developing all throughout the length of the failure plane. Okay, so that's why we have taken C multiplied by L.
Okay, sir.
Do we expect something else?
No, sir. Actually, I was confused with weight calculation. The triangle, it should be half into 88 point into 11.3. That was my confusion.
Oh, half into 88.
That
Yes,
the first.
you can also consider half into 88. There is no problem.
Okay.
No issue. No issue.
So which is the triangle we are considering for weight calculation?
Here, this triangle. So this one, and this one. So in fact, when we are calculating the triangle, we are taking the base width of 85. But if you take 88, then what will happen? You are going to increase the denominator. So you are going to get a higher factor of safety value. So that's why here they have taken 85. If you take 88, you will get a more factor of safety. If you take 85, you will get the bit less factor of safety.
Okay, sir.
Now the same sum. So what happens if there is a potential seepage all along the failure plane? So this blue line indicates a potential seepage or the top phreatic surface, and the maximum height of the phreatic surface from the failure plane is 3.2 meter. So this is the exactly same problem of the previous one. However, in the earlier case, there was no seepage. Now suppose assume that there was a perpetual seepage or there is a seepage during the rainy season. Then let us try to understand how the factor of safety increases or decreases because of the seepage condition. So in fact, we can use the same formula, but how to modify or how to incorporate the seepage component? How do you incorporate the seepage component into the previous equation?
W minus U, weight component.
W minus U. Yeah, if you look at the previous equation, that is shear strength, C plus sigma dash tan pi. So sigma dash can be written as sigma minus U. So in the previous sum, you have already calculated the total stress component and simply try to remove the pore pressure component, that is minus U. So the only big question is how to calculate the U. Now, as I told you, one of the simplest way of calculating U is you try to put some kind of a manometer or piezometer at the base of the failure plane and try to record the rise in water level in the petard tube. So that multiplied by the density of water shall give us the pore water pressure. So which is nothing but gamma W multiplied by the height of water. So gamma W into H. U is nothing but gamma W into H, where gamma W, that is density of water, that is known, and H. So here H should be how much?
Sir, it is a variable. 11.3 minus 3.2.
11.3 minus 3.2.
Yes, but it varies from different at different points.
Yeah, that is true. It varies at different all along at different points all along the failure plane. But
yes, then we have to go for method of slices, I think.
yeah, so one of the best idea is you try to go for a method of slices. But for example, suppose if it is a variable height. So which height causes the maximum shear stress, or which height causes the maximum destabilization?
Minimum from the water, minimum from the top.
Minimum
Means
from the
more water level will cause more less factor of safety.
yeah, so more water height causes the least factor of safety. So here more water height has been given as 3.2 meter. Now, if you go for method of slices, so you need to determine the U component and corresponding factor of safety corresponding to each slice. But the slice which is corresponding to the maximum height of the water should give us the minimum factor of safety value. So that is the fundamental law. Now, since here we are going for the mass procedure, so we don't have any other option except taking the maximum height wherever it was recorded. So you simply try to take U is nothing but gamma W multiplied by the H. So that should give you the pore pressure component. So simply multiply U is nothing but gamma W into H. Gamma W you can take as 9.81 or 10, doesn't matter. And H as 3.2 meter.
Not 3.2, 11.3 minus 3.
No, only 3.2. So 11.3
So the
minus
3
3.
is from top or from the bottom?
No. Water is C. For example, so let us look at, say for example, if I put pitot tube here, the water level rises from bottom of the bedding plane up to a height of 3.2 meter.
Okay,
It won't
okay.
rise. It won't rise up to the ground surface.
No, I thought 3.2 from top. Okay, okay.
No. Okay, so these are the calculations we have already exercised during the previous sum. Only additional parameter that you need to determine is pore water pressure parameter. So U is nothing but gamma W into ZW. Gamma W is 9.81 kilonewton per cubic meter and height of the water level is 3.2 meter. So this will give you 31.4. Now once I know the U, so I can able to determine the effective stress component, that is sigma dash is equal to sigma minus U. So same factor of safety is nothing but resisting force by the driving force. So C dash L plus W cos alpha. Now here, so this is W cos alpha is sigma component. So sigma minus U. So sigma minus U multiplied by tan pi and whole divided by the weight component, that driving force, that is W sin alpha. So W sin alpha. So all the parameters are known. Simply substitute into this equation and try to calculate the factor of safety value.
Sir, here phi is phi dash, na?
Yeah, pi is phi dash.
Okay, sir.
So
But
here
this,
the
here is an assumption. Here is an assumption. Wait a minute. So yeah, C dash is 15 and pi dash is 20. In the previous sum, C is 22. In the previous sum, C is 22 kilopascals and pi is 30 degree. So these are the total stress, total shear strength parameters. While when it comes to effective, so the values are C dash is 15 and pi dash is 20.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
so here the pore water pressure is being calculated at which point?
We do not know exactly at what point, but wherever we have recorded the maximum height of the water, that point should be the highest unstable condition. That's it. Suppose if you have taken the method of slices and if you have divided the entire thing into, you have done we don't have such a luxury. Okay, and it is also not recorded where it was recorded the maximum height, but it is at some point along the slip surface. That's it.
So it's given that 3.2 meter is the rise in pitot tube in the piezometer.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Okay.
If you look at carefully, there was a significant decrease in the factor of safety. So in the absence of the seepage, the factor of safety was approximately 2.7. But when there is a seepage, there was a significant decrease in the factor of safety value from 2.7 to 1.76. See how drastic decrease it is. Now, this decrease in factor of safety causes destability or instability in the slope, causing the slope failure. So here in this case, the minimum factor of safety requirement was 2. So when it is a dry, the factor of safety was meeting the desired criterion of about 2. So therefore, the slope is stable. But during the rainy season, when there is a constant seepage, then the factor of safety was reduced to below 2. That means the slope is vulnerable to failure. So the computed factor of safety of 1.76 is less than the minimum acceptable value. So the takeaway from this sum is, as the water table rises, so the factor of safety decreases. So this is what, as a geotechnical engineer, you must understand. So therefore, when you design or determine the factor of safety for any slope, so now you need to understand, is there any possibility of that particular embankment at the slope subjected to the flooding condition or the ponding of water for some time, where that could able to develop some kind of the phreatic surface, and that development of the phreatic surface could able to reduce or decline the factor of safety until such value which is causing the instability and ultimately leading to the failure. So this you leave it. Okay, yeah. So that's what all about the previous sum, which is straightforward and very simple. So you can able to do it. So then note down the another sum. So this is problem number 2. The stability of a slope was analyzed by the method of slices. One of the trail curved surfaces through the soil mass yielded the shearing and normal components of each slice as listed below. The curved length of the trail curved surface is 40 feet. The soil parameters are C 225 pound per square feet and pi 15 degree. Determine the factor of safety along this trail surface. So you understand, when you go practically meaning the weight of each individual slice, that is the first difficulty. Then second difficulty is there is an assumptions where there is no normal force on either side of the slice and there is no tangential force. Okay. So if you resort to the computer program, then calculation of the geometry and thereby area and thereby volume is quite easy. So now here, for your simple understanding, so a slope has been divided into 9 number of slices, and the shearing and the normal components acting on each slice has been calculated and has been listed out in this table. Okay, as you can see here. So the shearing component and the normal component. Now, if you look at the shearing component, there is a positive value and there is a negative value. So this is basically attributed to the fact that if you recall one of our previous class discussion, the value of alpha, so that is the angle made by the failure plane at the bottom or the interface between the failure plane and the shear strength or the native soil. So this alpha could be positive or negative depending upon which side the slice is lying from the center of the circle. Say, as I demonstrated you, a couple of the slices may be on the right side and a couple of the slices on the left side. And if you look at carefully the slip surface, it doesn't make only one positive angle. So it can also make some negative angles of the alpha. So increase, decrease, and thereby increase. So with respect to center of the circle. So if you look at carefully, with respect to the center of the circle. On one side it makes the positive, on another side it makes the negative. So wherever, so this negative is attributed to that negative. That means, so it is causing, instead of the instability, causing the stability. So that's what you have to understand. While this is the biggest distinction between altitude has been taken as instability or driving component, where in the method of slices it depends upon where it is lying, on the left side or right side of the center of the circle. So a few of the components cause even stability also. So these are the shearing component and normal components corresponding to each slice. And it has been also listed here, the summation of shearing component, the summation of the normal component. Can I go to next slide? Can anybody tell me what is the equation for determining the factor of safety in this case?
The length of the slip surface is given, so we can use that with L, TL plus the summation of W cos alpha for the numerator. W cos alpha into that tan phi.
Correct.
Similarly, for the denominator, we will use W sin alpha.
Yes. So substitutes, you know the C value, you know the pi value. So this is the equation. So factor of safety is nothing but CL plus sigma W cos alpha into tan pi divided by summation of W sin alpha. C is 225 multiplied by the length of the arc is 40 feet. And summation of sigma cos alpha is, in fact, there is something wrong. You need to multiply with the tan pi. Just be careful. So this is not exactly equals to 1.86. It will be slightly higher than this value. It is
Still got the same values.
You got the same value?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So some printing mistake is there. That's it. So this is all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So note down the another sum. So a 30 feet tall, 1.5 horizontal to 1 vertical slope is to be built as shown below. The soil is homogeneous with C dash of 400 pound per square feet and pi dash of 29 degree. The unit weight is 119 PSF, that is pound per cubic feet above the groundwater table, and 123 pound per cubic feet below the groundwater table. Using the ordinary method of slices, compute the factor of safety along the trial circle. So here it is clearly mentioned you should use the ordinary method of slices. So you know the equation for ordinary method of slices. Note down that equation, and here so in fact they have ready-madely given the total height of the embankment is 30 feet. So as I told in the previous sum, so here if you look at carefully, the value of the alphas are initially, this is slice number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So if you look at carefully, corresponding to slice number 1, the alpha is negative. Similarly, for slice number 2, alpha is negative. And for all remaining slices, the value of alpha is positive. And you can also notice that the value of the alpha is not remained constant from slice number 1 to 7. It always differs. So it always differs. And we also did discuss in the previous all classes. So we can divide the entire slope into equal number of slices or unequal number of slices depending upon our ease of computation. So here in this case, they have made unequal width of the slice. Sorry, unequal width of the slice. So the width of each slice is distinct and different. So this they have done giving consideration to alpha value. And there is a CPS condition also, as you can see here. So it is highlighted with the blue line with the water table. Width of the slice is 10.8. Slice 1 is 10.8, 9.4, 12.1, 12.7, 9.3, 7.6, 4. So you need to calculate the area of each slice multiplied by the density. Now, can anybody tell me what is the unknown here?
Beta value.
Theta value or beta value?
Beta, slope angle, beta.
Beta is known now, 1.5 horizontal to 1 vertical. Your beta is tan inverse 1.5 by horizontal by vertical, na? So 1.5 by 1. So beta is known.
Yes.
So that water table height or difference like
Water table height, yeah.
Water table height, okay. Any other thing? See, first of all, if you look at carefully, say I want to calculate the weight of slice 1. Okay. So what are the different parameters required here?
Height of each slice.
Exactly. So the biggest unknown factor is here. What should be the height of each slice? Okay. Width of the slice is known, but height of the slice is not known. So you can approximately consider slice as a triangle of slice number 1. Slice number 1. Where here, if you look at carefully, this is you can take in a reverse way. The width can be taken as a height in this case, but you need to calculate the height, which is nothing but the width of the slice or the height of the slice. So this is unknown. So anybody can give or can throw any idea how to calculate this height. Can anybody throw any idea? So is there any simple method by which we can able to calculate the height or the geometry?
So we can use the width and the slope angle, but then the height below the base, below that lower base will not be considered.
Okay, so that is one of the way. So very good. That is analytical way of doing it one. So there's another simple way is you can redraw the entire slope on a graph paper and we can compute the area. This is what I think you have normally practiced in your undergraduate program. So try to redraw the entire slope on a graph paper and keep on counting the number of blocks, full blocks, half blocks, 1/4 blocks. Then make it equivalent to in terms of the centimeter square. So then compute the whole area. So this is another simplest procedure. So either you can calculate analytical way. So based on the geometry. So given alpha value or something, or so try to reproduce the entire slope on the graph paper and calculate the area. So once area is known, density of the soil is known, multiply it with the density, then what you will get is the weight of the component. Okay. So this is how they have done it. So the weights. So first calculate the base width of the slice. So width is 10.8 meter. The horizontal width of the slice is 10.8 meter. Then the inclined length of the slice is 10.3 by 2. So this 10.3 is that they have calculated, that they have measured and giving. So W1 by B and multiplied by gamma. So then similarly, so W2, W3, so W4. So here, for example, if you look at carefully W2, the 10.3 plus 12.5 by 2. So this is average of two sides of the height. Two sides of the height. While another thing also, if you look at carefully the slice number 2, some part of the area is above the groundwater table and some part is below the groundwater table. And the density of the soil above the groundwater table is different than the below. So therefore, two different components has been taken. So the first part has been multiplied with the 119, that is density of the soil above the groundwater table. The second part was multiplied with the 123, that is the density of the soil below the groundwater table. Okay, so this 10.3, 12.5, these are the heights. So on either side of the slice, you can see here 10.3 corresponding to slice number 1, the bottom height. So repeat the same thing for all the slices. So follow the same procedure from W1 to W7. So this will give the total driving force.
Hello. So what's 5.2 in calculation of W2 by B? So which dimension is it exactly?
See, for example, if you look at the W1, so this entire slice groundwater table. Is below the groundwater. So this 5.2 indicates below the groundwater and 12.5 indicates above the groundwater.
So can
Similarly
you
for
repeat
W.
it once again?
Yeah, pardon me.
Yes, sir. Can you repeat after that? So that half part is below the groundwater and half the
See, the density of the soil, the density of the soil above groundwater is 119. Okay. And the density of the soil below the groundwater is 123. And if you look at slice 2, majority of this area is above the groundwater and small portion is below the groundwater. Okay, the height of this slice is, the height of the slice below the groundwater is 5.2. So whatever the units you may take it, maybe centimeter or maybe feet, so or maybe inches, doesn't matter. So this 5.2 is the length of the slice below the water table. So the same thing you can also see for slice number 3. Slice number 3. For slice number 3, so 5.2 plus 10 divided by 2, and this is 12.5 below and 14.6 above. Oh, sorry. The both sides. This is 12.5 and this is 14.6. For slice number 3, this height is between 2 and 3 is 12.5. Between 3 and 4 is 14.6.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, could you please explain how we calculate W4?
W4.
Yes, sir.
So W4 is 2.9. 2.9. This is something wrong with. This is 12.2.9. 2.9. There is nothing. 7.1. W5 is correct. W6 is correct. W7 is correct. W4, I think there is some printing mistake. Please correct. This is 12.7.
Okay, sir.
This is supposed to be 12.7, not 2.9.
Sir, there, what about the other terms, means 17 and 7.1?
17 and 17.8. No, that one also wrong.
Yes,
it's supposed to be 119 and 123.
123. Yeah. Okay, sir.
So also the average heights taken are wrong, I guess.
Which one?
So the average heights like 5/2 and 12.9 plus 8/2.
W4 5/2. Yeah.
So like 5/2 like will not that will be also we consider as average only, na? Like some
Average.
addition of some heights by 2, but out
Correct.
here it's directly written 5/2.
No, it's not 5/2. So it's supposed to be, you just make a match between W3 and W5. Okay, try to make a match between
Yes,
W3
sir.
and W4. Then we'll get exactly W4 value. This entire W4 is incorrect. Okay, so this is the weight components. Now there is a water table, so we can able to calculate the U component, that is pore water pressure. So average pore water pressure at the base of each slice. Since there is no water table corresponding to the slice number 1, so therefore pore water pressure is 0. Now corresponding to slice number 2, so it is for only certain portion of the slice number 2. U2 is nothing but, so 5.2 divided by 2 into 62.4. This is unit weight of the water in pound per cubic meter. So this is unit weight of water. So this is 5.2 by 2 into 62.4. So this is total pore water pressure corresponding to slice number 2. And for slice number 3, slice number 4, slice number 5, 6, and 7. In fact, for corresponding to slice number 7 also, there is no groundwater or there is no seepage. The pore water pressure corresponding to 7 is 0. So the phreatic surface is not passing through slice number 1 and slice number 7. So the UN and accordingly U1 and U7 are 0. And for remaining all slices, one has to calculate the height of the water rise in the pitot tube. So that height has been given here. So here they have taken the average height at the mid of the slice. The average height at the mid of the slice. So from the previous calculations corresponding to weight components, we know the height between the interfaces of two slices, like 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6. So the same heights can be taken here. So if we consider those heights, so then we can come up with the average height at the middle of the each slice. So this is how we shall calculate the pore water pressure component at the middle of the each slice. So U1 is 0, U2 is 5.2 by 2 into 62.4. U3 is average at the middle, that is 5.2 between 2 and 3, and 10 between 3 and 4 divided by 2. This becomes average height multiplied by 62.4. U4, the height between 3 and 4 is 10 centimeter, and between 4 and 5 is 10.7. Average of these two, 10 plus 10.7 by 2. Then U5, that is 10.7, that is interface between 4 and 5. 7.3, the interface height between 5 and 6. Of these two, 10. So only one, the other height is 0. So 7.3 by 2, 62.4. So this is 230. Anyhow, so there is no water table for slice number 7, therefore U7 is 0. So then once weight components and the pore pressure components are calculated, so try to make this kind of a table. So we have a total 7 number of slices. We have calculated the weights of 11 slices, that is W by B. So try to enumerate here, and alpha angle is known corresponding to each slice. So then angle of internal friction, that is pi, is also constant all along the length of the slice, sorry, all along the length of the failure plane. Then U, pore water pressure, that is different for different slices, which also we have calculated previously. So then the length of each slice, so the length of each slice, so that we can able to calculate depending upon the alpha value. So depending upon the alpha value. So then you have to calculate. So you have to calculate the driving, that is resisting force, which is nothing but C dash plus sigma tan pi. So here C dash is nothing but C dash into L, the total cohesion all along the length of the slip circle, and effective normal stress sigma dash is equal to sigma minus U. Sigma is W by B into cos alpha, minus U is nothing but U into L multiplied by the tan pi. And the driving force is nothing but summation of W by B. So since the value of the alpha is positive as well as a negative, so give the same sign. Wherever it is negative, give the negative sign. Wherever it is a positive, give the positive sign. And take the summation of the resisting forces and summation of the driving forces. Then your factor of safety is nothing but 84,400 divided by 46,100. So that shall give you the value of the factor of safety. So this whole of the exercise one need to practice when you take up the slide and just try to understand the intricacy. So when you take only the 7 number of slices, this is the enormous calculations involved in it. Just imagine if you are taking say 100 or 200 or even more number of slices, then how difficult it is to calculate the weight and resistance component corresponding to each slice. So it takes immense amount of time. And all said and done, so this is corresponding to only the one critical slip surface. In fact, we do not know whether this is a critical or not. This is one slip surface. And if at all, if you want to repeat the same procedure for corresponding to n number of slices until you are finding out the most critical slip surface, perhaps you may be taking your whole life. So without the aid of computational program, if you want to calculate manually, then to calculate the factor of safety of only one slope, then you may take your entire life. Okay, so now you might be understanding how the computational facility helping us to find out the most critical slip surface quite easily in a fraction of seconds, or rather fraction of minutes, or rather fraction of hours. That's it. And that can able to calculate even the most complex geometry. So here one of the assumption is again, so the slip surface, the bottom width of the slip surface is assumed as a linear. But if you resort to the computational program, we can give the length as a function of the mathematical function. So therefore it exactly calculates the whole of the area. So as I told you, you can also come up with your own program of determining the factor of safety. So once everything is known, so try to determine the factor of safety, so which is 1.83, which is less than 2, so not desirable. So just imagine, so how many number of trials you have to make in order to get the factor of safety of about 2. So just note down the another sum. Using the Swedish slip circle method, compute the factor of safety along the trial circle shown in the figure below. So one of my simplest question in this is, among the so far discussed so many number of methods, which method is the most ideal for this kind of slope? Can anybody able to justify which of the methods so far we have discussed is the most ideal for determining the factor of safety of this slope, and why? Anyone?
Sir, I think it's Morgenstern and
Morgenstern and
Price method.
yeah. So any reason?
Because they have considered the variety of slope angles in a single slope.
Exactly. So the best method for this kind of the slope is Morgenstern Price, because there is an inbuilt capability of defining the top surface, the slope. So if the embedded slope is different slope angles. Okay. So in Morgenstern Price method, the slope, the profile also can be defined. So that's why the Morgenstern Price method is the most ideal one, as it inbuilds defining the profile of the ground surface. So can I go to the next slide? Yeah. Okay, so the given slope is divided into so many number of slices. So again, here also the width of the slice is distinct. So no two slices are of the same width. And there are three number of layers. So the layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3. So here also we can able to calculate the each component weight components of these slice 1, W1 by B. So try to note it down. This is for the slice 1, and this is for the slice 2. For slice 1, this is 4.6, that is the width, and average height is 2 by 2, so 17.8, that is density of the soil. Density of the soil. For slice 2, so this is kind of a rhombus. So you have to take average of heights on both sides. The width is 7, the height is 2 on one side and 9.8 on the other side. So 2 plus 9.8 by 2 multiplied by 17.8, that is density. Then W3. So heights are known here. So everything has been given. So width of the slice has been given. Height of the slice has been given. It's good. Slice number 3 and slice number 4. So here also, if you look at carefully, for slice number 4, there are two variety of the soils. One is with the light brown and dark brown. Light brown and dark brown. So two distinct. So since density of the two soils are different, one is 17, next is 17.8. So therefore you have to take two separately and sum it up. So similarly calculate for W5, W6 and W7. Okay, so additionally in this case we can also able to calculate the lever arm distances, so corresponding to each slice. So because we know the center of the circle, so in this case center of the circle has been given, so we can able to calculate the lever arm distance. So slice 1 D1, slice 2 D2, slice 3, slice 4, 5 and 6 and 7. Okay, so these are the lever arm distances. So note down all the lever arm distances. So weight multiplied by the lever arm distance. So this will give the total moment. Say it could be driving moment or resisting moment, depending upon the value of positive or negative. So from this case, it is obvious that slice numbers 1 and 2 are contributing for the stability, and remaining all slices are contributing for the instability. Okay, so did you all note down the moment arms, the lever arm distances? So now try to calculate the resisting moment. So this is slice numbers and corresponding the shear strength values and theta value.
Can you please go to the previous slide? Yes. Sir, why this 4.61 is divided by 3?
Where it is achieved. D7. So D7 5.1 divided by.
Sir, in D7 and D1 both.
It's a triangle, nah? They are taking as a triangle.
Oh, okay, sir.
Center of gravity distance, nah?
Yes, yes, okay, sir.
So here the cohesion of layer 1 is, one layer is 80 kilopascals, another layer is 40 kilopascals. So theta I know corresponding to two distinct layers of the soil, 76 for layer number 1 and 30 for layer number 2. So I can able to calculate the total cohesion developing all along the slip circle if I multiply this with theta. So this is supposed to be r multiplied by theta. R multiplied by theta. So the same thing has been done. So when during the calculation of the factor of safety. So in the previous slide, so we learned how to calculate the W by B and D. So if you multiply W by D, so then this will give us the moment component. So moment component, then the resisting component. So the shear strength multiplied by theta, and this should be multiplied by the lever arm distance, which is nothing but R. The radius of the slip circle. So if you multiply the cohesion with the length of the arc and multiply with the radius of the circle, then what you get is resisting moment. So resisting moment, but here there is something wrong. Again, no, it's okay. So this is how one can able to calculate the factor of safety. Okay, so we have seen two variety of problems corresponding to method of slices. So in the previous, so simple weight calculation, and here this is based on the only moment. So we have taken the moment equilibrium of each and every slice. So in the previous, it was only the force equilibrium. So this sum deals with the moment equilibrium, while the previous sum deals with the force equilibrium. Can I go to next slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So note down a small problem on Taylor stability chart. Using the Taylor stability chart, determine the factor of safety for the slope shown in figure 1. So for the same slope height, what slope angle must be used if a factor of safety of 1.5 is required? So different parameters has been given. The height of the embankment or the slope is 10 meter. Slope angle is 50 degree. Soil properties, gamma 16 kilonewton per cubic meter, C 40 kilonewton per square meter, pi 15 degree. And the depth from the top of the berm up to the hardest strata is 15 meter. Hardest strata is 15 meter. As a So what is the maximum height of the hardest strata? So that in this case has been given as 15 meter. So we know how to define the stability number M, which is nothing but C by gamma H, and which is a function of several other parameters, slope angle beta, angle of internal friction theta, so on and so forth. And we have also seen discussed three variety of slopes. When failure plane passing through the two, slow failure alone, and the base failure. Since the hardest stratum lies beneath the bottom of the slope, there is a possibility of the base failure. However, we need to look into what is the value of the beta. So if you remember very well, there is a distinction between beta of less than 53 and greater than 53. I think it is, if slope is greater than 53, all failures are the toe failures. And when the beta is less than 50, so it could be slow failure or toe failure or base failure, depending upon the presence of the hardest stratum. So this is the solution. So first assume different values of the friction angle pi dash. So determine the factor of safety value. So first of all, you have to grab that Taylor stability chart, which is a relationship between the stability number m, the friction angle pi dash, and the slope angle beta for different slope angles. Several predefined graphs have been defined. So then stability number can be defined as m is equals to c by gamma h. So you are first asked to assume some value of the pi d, friction angle, drained friction angle. So assume some friction angle 15 and try to calculate the factor of safety corresponding with respect to the friction, that is tan pi by tan pi d. Then corresponding to f pi, so pick up the value of m, the stability number c dash by gamma h. C dash by gamma h, or for the given friction angle of say 15, assumed 15, and the slope angle beta is how much? Beta is 75, so 15, 75. Oh, so not sorry, the different value. So beta is you need to calculate 50. Sorry, beta is 50. Pi is 15. Beta is 50. Pi is 15. Beta is 50. Pick up the value of the stability number m. So which can be taken as 0.92. Can again calculate the factor of safety as a function of the cohesion, that is C by CD. Now as per the Taylor's stability idea, the factor of safety of F5 should be equivalent to the factor of safety corresponding to the cohesion. Then only that becomes the critical. But when you have assumed F pi d of 15, so F5 comes out to be 1, but FC comes out to be 2.7. So these two are not matching. So meaning thereby you need to assume another value of the pi d. So I increased pi d. So initially which was assumed as 15. So in fact I decreased. So again I assumed as a 10. So pi d is 10 corresponding to pi d of 10 and beta of 50. So again pick up the value of m. So which is picked up from the stability chart as 0.116. So we know the fundamental equation CD is equals to gamma h into m. Gamma is known, h is known, m is known. Calculate CD. And once CD is known, C value is already given. Calculate the factor of safety as a function of the cohesion, which is C by CD. So C is already known. CD is calculated as 18.6. So C divided by CD, so which gives a factor of safety of 2.2. So again, let us have a comparison. So factor of safety with respect to friction is calculated as 1.52 and factor of safety with respect to cohesion as calculated as 2.2. So since both are not matching, our assumed value of pi d is not correct. So again, either you try to decrease or increase the value of pi d. So again, I have reassumed the value of the pi d as 7.5. So since I know the pi d value, I can able to calculate the factor of safety as a function of pi. So tan pi by tan pi d. So which has been calculated as 2. Now again, so go for the stability chart corresponding to pi d value of 7.5, and beta of 50. Pick up the value of the stability number m, so which was picked up as 0.125. So once m is known, calculate CD. So that is a mobilized cohesion value. which is nothing but gamma h into m. So m is already derived from the chart. So simply calculate the mobilized cohesion, which is 20. So once CD is known, so calculate the friction, the factor of safety as a function of the cohesion, which is nothing but C by CD. So which gives a factor of safety of 2. So now here in this case, when we have assumed the pi d of 7.5, Fi perfectly matches with the Fc. So that means, so this is the friction angle that is the desirable. That is the desirable. When beta is 50, the minimum factor of safety value is 2. Now in the same sum, from the same slope height, what slope angle must be used if a factor of safety of 1.5 is required? So here we know the factor of safety. Here we know the factor of safety. So CD is equals 40 by 1.5, that is 26.7. So but CD is nothing but gamma h multiplied by m. So m is 0.167, then tan pi dash d by tan pi by 1.5, that is pi d is equal to 10.1. So at m is equal to 0.167, pi d of 10.1. From the chart, pick up the beta value. Pick up the beta value. This is simply entirely reverse than the part A of the sum. Part A of the sum. Okay, so this is as simple as possible, straight and straightforward problem. You already dealt with this one in the previous before mid-sem exam also. So I'm not going to reiterate again. Okay, so try to note it down the another sum. So this is also a method of slices. For the slope shown in figure 15.31, find the factor of safety against the sliding. For the trail slip surface AC, use the ordinary method of slices. Assume there is no C phase in the slope. So height of the embankment is given as 14 meter. So the center of the circle exists at a length of 18 meter from the top edge of the slope, and at a height of 5 meter. Slope angle is given as 30 degree. So alpha also has been given. For slice 1, alpha is 70, slice 2, 54, slice 3, 38, slice 4, 24, slice 5, 12, slice 6, 0, slice 7, -8. Okay, so note down all these things. So here, as I told you, it is very difficult to give, difficult to calculate it, but this is what they have done it. So corresponding to each slice, the weight is calculated, alpha n is calculated. So then try to determine the rest of the parameters, sin alpha, cos alpha, tan ln, that is length of the each slice. Then the driving component and the resisting component. So then ultimately, so substitute everything into the equation. So then what will get is the final factor of safety. All right. Can I go to the next slide? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So this is same sum. Leave it, yeah. So note down the another sum. So compute the long-term factor of safety for the failure surface using mass procedure, ordinary method of slices. Okay, hope you have noted down. So I will stop it here only. Maybe tomorrow we can discuss some more problems. So let me stop it here.
Sir, height of a phreatic line is not given.
Height of the phreatic line. So I think that's not given.
Yes, sir.
So maybe I will discuss this tomorrow. No problem.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So let me take the attendance.